NFL Week 10. We're exactly halfway through the NFL regular season, and I am about to walk you through all of the best options for Week 10 of the season on DraftKings. Also have a FanDuel lineup video that's going up on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are looking for FanDuel information, go check out that on the YouTube channel as well if you want both. We got both of those covered here. All I'm going to ask from you is to like the video and to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm using the contest generator and the Sims tool at Stokastic.com to figure out who the best core players are at each position this weekend, as well as giving you guys my top projected lineups for the weekend. And that's where we're going to start here. I'm going to favorite my top 150 lineups here in the Sims tool. If you guys want to sign up for our football package, which includes everything that we have here, there's a link for that below. But number one overall projected lineup, it is Dak Prescott at quarterback. So Cowboys stack, got Dak Prescott, the running backs, Tony Pollard and Joe Mixon, pass catching options, CeeDee Lamb, Deontay Johnson, and then Trenton Irwin. And then we've got Dalton Schultz, Evan Ingram, and the Buccaneers defense rounding out the rest of the lineup. So that is the lineup that is the highest simulated ROI of all the lineups that I've built out. And now let's go position by position to see what is standing out about each position, as I accidentally clicked the wrong thing there. All right, quarterbacks to start. Which quarterbacks am I building stacks around? You see three QBs that are showing up predominantly for me as my core options at QB: Joe Burrow, Geno Smith, Dak Prescott, all three of them north of 20% owned in my lineups, and no other QB with double-digit ownership. Joe Burrow. So we do have no T. Higgins for the Bengals this weekend, which is a negative and a positive for the Bengals. The negative is, well, Joe Burrow doesn't have T. Higgins to throw to, which does make the offense slightly less potent. On the positive end, we could more easily project guys like Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase to have bigger roles in the receiving game, and it also just opens up more value for Cincinnati. Dak Prescott, great matchup for him going up against the Giants this weekend. Obviously, the risk here is going to be, do they win by so much that Prescott just doesn't have to throw the ball that much? Because in week one of the season, where the Cowboys just blew out the Giants and won by 40 points, Prescott only finished with 150 passing yards in that game. So we got to hope that game is a little bit more competitive than the week one game. And then Geno Smith, another QB that we're building around. Seahawks expect to be one of the highest scoring teams of the weekend. Beyond these two, getting some exposure to Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, but the real core plays at quarterback: Joe Burrow, Geno Smith, Dak Prescott. Running back, the core options we're getting to at RB, it starts with Joe Mixon, somebody here who's really also benefiting from a couple of things. First and foremost, the absence of T. Higgins could mean that the Bengals look to run the ball a little bit more than regular, but then also Joe Mixon is somebody who could be more involved in the passing game. And then something else of note that's going to matter for Joe Mixon: Joe Burrow's healthy. He's playing much better now than he was earlier in the season. If it was not for the first few weeks of the year where Joe Burrow had the calf injury, he'd probably be in the mix as far as being an MVP candidate this year, and he'd be having a really good year statistically. On the whole, it's still been a good year for Joe Burrow because of his last few weeks and how much he's picked it up. But Joe Mixon is somebody who has not really benefited from all of the uptick in play from Joe Burrow. So we haven't seen the touchdowns lately for Joe Mixon, but I think they're coming. And also something of note is that with the Bengals starting to move the ball downfield more, the offense becoming more potent, this is eventually going to mean that Joe Mixon is the one who scores the touchdowns as opposed to Joe Burrow running it in, Jamar Chase, or whoever else it may be. So like Joe Mixon at running back. Other core plays at running back: Bijan Robinson. Hard to feel great about that, but he's still a very talented running back, even if he hasn't gotten the workload that we would want from him. Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Rachaad White, the other running backs that are making it into a decent amount of my lineup. So in general, not paying up at running back this weekend, which means, paying up for wide receiver a little bit more. So Trenton Irwin, he looks like a contrarian play that projects really well relative to his price. Close to min salary right there, really cheap price point on Trenton Irwin with no T. Higgins out there for the Bengals. This is somebody who's going to be playing more snaps. He's going to be running more routes. Makes sense as a value option. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Amon-Ra St. Brown, rounding out my core plays at wide receiver. So what happens here? Right? The reason that we're not getting to a bunch of the expensive running backs is we are paying up at wide receiver. The one exception being Trenton Irwin, who's just, pretty clear value option to be getting to due to the absence of T. Higgins. But where we're really spending our salary this weekend is going to be at wide receiver. And a lot of these wide receivers also correlate with the quarterbacks we're getting to. Chase and Irwin correlate with Joe Burrow. CeeDee Lamb correlating with Dak Prescott. And then we've also got the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tyler Lockett. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, we were seeing some Jared Goff exposure. And then Tyler Lockett, he pairs with all the Geno Smith that we're getting to. Jackson Smith and Jigba also in 13% of lineups here. See the tight end core plays, and hopefully it's helped you guys build out your lineups. If you enjoy the content, just do me a favor, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tight end core plays, we've got TJ Hawkinson, Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, and then some Jake Ferguson as well here to help pad some of those Cowboys stacks, give them a little bit more upside. So we're getting to a lot of Dak Prescott at quarterback, and it looks like the pass catching options for the most part are CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, but then also some Tony Pollard in there, which I don't hate him being in stacks with Dak because he is somebody who's capable of being involved in the passing game as well as the run game. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. I hope it helps you win some money at DFS this weekend. Don't forget, I got a FanDuel video also going up on the YouTube channel. So guys, have a great week 10. I hope you guys have a great weekend and see you back here next week.